Namaste, beloveds. I'm Alana Fairchild. I want to talk to you about the 5 vibration, which is typifying things like 2021, the month of May. Anything that holds that vibration of 5 is really aligning with the divine feminine wisdom of evolution. So, of course, evolution suggests change, healing change for the better. However, when we are moving through process of evolution, as you'll know from your own soul journey, it doesn't always feel like it's for the best. In fact, sometimes that process of divine evolution can lead us right into the thing that we would rather avoid and bring up energies of fear or doubt, anger, frustration, even sadness. And part of the wisdom in this process is learning to embrace and engage with that experience, whilst at the same time having trust that it is going to evolve and change, and that there's something of use in that energy, in that challenge, in sometimes that suffering, that if we are willing to move through it, we can find that treasure. It might be something like more courage. It might be the treasure of awareness. It might be the treasure of finding our sacred rage that sets a loving boundary and allows us to finally let go of a dysfunctional pattern that might have been dominating our life. The energy of 5 is not always easy, especially if you find trust in the face of challenge to be difficult, which a lot of people do, and is really not something that you're always necessarily born with. Sometimes, especially if there was difficulty early on in your life, it might be a skill, and it's certainly a spiritual skill, that needs to be learnt. But it can be learnt through practice and a little bit of experimentation. What happens when I trust myself, spirit? How do I then involve myself and navigate the challenges of my life? And how do I live my life in such a way that I can help to spread light, peace, love, compassion, whatever it is that has meaning for your heart in our world? So the 5 also expresses itself, as I mentioned, through the divine feminine. One of my courses, the Kuan Yin Transmission, works with 5 particular facets of the divine feminine. There's Kuan Yin herself, the goddess of compassion, who reminds us that the heart is always a safe sanctuary to return to whenever you're going through the challenge associated with the 5, with evolution, with intense spiritual growth spurts that are rarely smooth sailing. They tend to involve a little bit of needing to surf the currents and dealing with the unexpected. Both of these things, the unexpected and needing to be flexible, are elements inherent in the 5 wisdom teaching for the soul. Then there is the beautiful energy of the goddess Isis, who is just, she's known as the goddess of 10,000 names, and she has more than 10,000 amazing qualities. But one of them that feels incredibly relevant in this day and age is the quality of being able to recognize negativity and not allow it to dominate the heart, but instead move through the emotional journey that arises because of painful experiences and grow stronger and even more resourceful and connected to the heart and the loving magic and potential of the heart to transform even deep loss, for example, into an opportunity for the soul to grow in its capacity to connect, to feel authentically nourished by life, even when things don't always go to plan. To be able to stay in connection with the heart and with compassion when in a situation of negativity is a tremendous gift, not only for ourselves, because it helps to stabilize us and keep us in a place where we're actually nourished by life, but it's also a gift to those that are really struggling and collapsing into judgment or confusion and don't know how to hold their spiritual center when there is challenge. And that's something we're all learning how to do at different levels according to our life experiences. So Isis is of tremendous value. Then there is beautiful, beloved Mother Mary, who resonates with the heart and teaches us really what it is to walk a spiritual path this lifetime in physical form. And particularly for mothers of children, her own life experience and a lot of her teachings are really about how to cope with the heartbreak that we feel when a beloved, whether it's a child or simply a being that we love, is suffering, and how to honor them as empowered spiritual beings and trust that we don't need to kind of mistake someone's suffering for being a sign that we need to save them from their own destiny. Instead, to be able to hold a space and to honor their power and their dignity as a soul and believe in them, to hold a vision for them whilst caring and doing what we can to bring comfort without disempowering them. I think this is a really powerful message, and one that we need to remind ourselves, especially if we are the sensitive, empathic types that might feel that our job is to rescue others. So being able to stay in our power and be of benefit without stepping in and kind of overstepping with others is a really important lesson. And Mother Mary can bring so much comfort whilst also bringing that sense of empowerment for ourselves and for others. And then we have the goddess Tara, who is connected to traditions throughout the East, in India, Nepal and Tibet, just to name a few. And she's marvellous, manifests in every form that's needed, and it's taught that Tara will manifest herself in whatever resourceful, creative, loving, graceful way is necessary to meet the needs of every living being. Tara's commitment is to liberate all hearts, and her beautiful grace is that she's very swift. You don't have to wait for 3 weeks of manifesting in order to connect with her. You can simply say her mantra, which is Om Tare Tum Swaha, and feel it in the heart, and imagine that you're connecting with a wild green flame that might then become any number of colours, and have the sense that that divine feminine grace can manifest through you, through your heart, into your life, into your own being, your mind, helping you conquer fear, which is one of her key traits, that she helps us negotiate our relationship with fear and then to work with it constructively as an energy so that it stops overpowering us. And also recognizing that her light, once you're filled with that, can flow like a beautiful fountain of grace, love, compassion, and divine assistance into the world. And then finally, the final 5 in this particular program that I run and that you can connect with anyway. I've written a book, actually, the Kuan Yin Transmission book goes into this in more detail too. If it's resonating for you, that's an option. So the final 5th mother that we connect with is Kali, the fierce goddess, the dark goddess, the bringer of grace, and she embodies a wrathful ferocity that's very compassionate. So when we're facing negativities in ourselves or around us in the world, in events or in the ways that people are responding to those events that may not always bring out the best in them, having a connection with Kali, and you can do that through connecting to your heart and feeling for her name, just feeling for the name of Kali in your heart. But having that connection with her can be a way to empower the part of you that needs to find strength, that needs to find courage, and also needs to feel that you can relax into her divine power, and you don't have to become aggressive in order to set a boundary. You can actually do so from a place that's quite peaceful and centered within your heart and within your soul, within your belly, that gives you that sense of strength, grounding, centering and connection, and yet also being able to respond to what's happening around you in a constructive way based on your own talents and abilities. These 5 beings work as one. They are emanations of grace and love, and really remind us of the essence of the divine feminine, which manifests through the 5, which is change is evolution. It's the expression of your true divine intelligence that's in your heart, like spiritual DNA, that knows why you're here, why you have this particular lifetime, and what the beauty of your unique sacred fruition would look like. And the divine feminine in the form of the goddess supports and encourages and provides exactly the right opportunities and challenges and graceful gifts that are going to help you externalize, manifest, rise to what it is that's within you that we don't always know. You know, the caterpillar doesn't have necessarily a butterfly dream, and yet it has within its destiny to become that. And the way that it's able to do that without controlling it, without understanding it, is to go through its own really bizarre and challenging process of evolution and growth. And it's similar for the human soul. Sometimes things happen and it seems like everything's falling apart, but as the Zen expression goes, you know, what the caterpillar calls the end is what we call the butterfly. So just understanding that at this time, that divine feminine grace is there for you. It's within your heart. You don't have to be afraid of the change. If there is fear, you don't have to fear that fear. You can learn to work with it in a constructive way. So much love from my heart to yours. May you feel steadiness, and may you know that all you need to do to connect with these loving energies is give yourself a little bit of time and space to tune into your heart, and ask for help from the universe. The universe is always responsive. So much love. Namaste.